Breaking news coming in, shocking images coming in from Kabul airport at the moment. US Apache has shooed away desperate Afghans, panic-stricken civilians, chase US planes. The low-flying Apache disperse. They clear the runway. These Afghans have nowhere to go at the moment. This is a desperate escape bid from Taliban. This is a dark age in Kabul that we are reporting at the moment, and I'm requesting the producers to get Gaurav Sawant to give us a better perspective on all that is transpiring right there. These are shocking images coming in from the US, Kabul airport. US Apache shooing away desperate Afghans. There are panic-stricken civilians chasing the US planes. Low-flying Apache disperse, they clear the runway, and these Afghans have nowhere to go as Taliban takes on Kabul. Shocking images coming in, desperate scenes coming in with a desperate bid to escape from Taliban. As it is coming in amidst the crisis that we're seeing then. Tense Kabul evacuation, rekindling memories of another US retreat. In fact, if it was Vietnam then, it's Afghanistan now. These are shocking images coming in from Kabul airport at the moment. Gaurav Sawant now joins us live. Gaurav, give us a perspective into what's going on as far as the US's role is concerned into this entire crisis. And now you've got US Apache shooing away desperate Afghans. Back in the day, it was Vietnam. It is Afghanistan now. This entire evacuation is rekindling memories of another US retreat.
You know, these images are horrifying. Just look at the desperation of the people of Afghanistan in large numbers. And we've been looking at these images all morning. People rushing to the Hamid Karzai International Airport. Men, women, little children in tow, trying to flee the Taliban in Afghanistan. And here, the United States, so the civilian part of the airport is shut. US Marines in charge of that military part or a close part of the airport from where American diplomats, British diplomats, other diplomats, they are now being evacuated. So this is a US Air Force C-17 Globemaster that's evacuating the Americans. But look at the desperation of the Afghan people. They are rushing, virtually clinging on or trying to cling on to the wheels of that huge C-17 aircraft, and the Americans had to fly in their Apaches, the attack helicopter, just to push back people so that the aircraft could go first towards the taxiway and then the runway and take off. There are some other images that we are trying to verify at this stage. They are even more horrifying than the ones that are currently on air. This just goes on to show the desperation. News reports from Kabul seem to indicate that Taliban have now put multiple checkpoints en route the airport. Now look at the other indications.
Yeah.
People can neither go forward nor can they go back.
No, absolutely, Gaurav. And also that begs the bigger question. Of course, the Afghans are panic-stricken. They're trying to flee the country as well. But there are also certain Indians right there, Gaurav. And with flights being suspended as well, the Indian government at the moment must be in a precarious situation, not knowing how to bring them back.
You're absolutely right. So look at the situation at this point of time. NOTAM has been issued, which actually closes the airspace. Why is the airspace closed? Who will man the air traffic controller is not clear. People are unable to get to the airport. Those who are supposed to man these agencies, the Americans are, but they are only manning it for American flights that are to evacuate people from Kabul at this point of time. What about other civilian aircraft? Yesterday, an Air India aircraft managed to land and it came back with 129 people. But apparently, and this again is information that we are picking up from ground, there are thousands of people who had lined up outside the Indian mission desperately seeking visas to get out of Afghanistan and come to India. But again, the Indian mission is also working, from what we've been told, at a much curtailed level, much less number of staffers. There are similar queues outside the American embassy, which has been evacuated now completely, and other missions, and people are just trying to leave, even if it's trying to go through the the Iran border and go into Iran or go to some other countries. So very, very desperate situation in Afghanistan at this point of time. How long will this airport remain shut for civilian flights? We still do not know. Which is the government in power at this point of time? We still do not know. So the Taliban have taken control of Afghanistan. President Ashraf Ghani has fled the country and he tried to land in Tajikistan. But from what sources are telling India today, he was unable to land in Tajikistan. He didn't get permission. His aircraft didn't get permission to land in Tajikistan, and he's then gone to Oman along with the National Security Advisor, and may then try and go to the United States of America from Oman. That's point one. Point two, the Vice President Amrullah Saleh, he's not taken off from the Kabul airport, is what sources are telling us. Along with some other people, he's in the Panjshir area and from their region, and from there he will try and get into Tajikistan. That's the information that we are getting through sources, but a very, very desperate situation on ground, as you can see in these images. People desperate just to get out.
Horrifying. This is a humanitarian crisis right there, Gaurav, raising grumblings about the credibility of United States as well.
You're right. 20 years the United States invested in democracy in Afghanistan, and overnight, lock, stock and barrel, they've left the country and left it to the Taliban. You know, the agreement that was being arrived at Doha, what did that indicate? That there will be a transfer of power, a peaceful transfer of power to an interim government. It was to come to Ambassador Jalil, but that clearly has not happened. The Taliban just walked into the presidential palace and took control of the presidential palace. And Ashraf Ghani did not hand over power. He left the country. So the situation, it's a situation of absolute flux in Afghanistan. Who will come? Will Mullah Baradar come and take over power? We have, from what sources are indicating at this point of time, there are strings that are being pulled by Pakistan, but there are counter levers that are being pulled by the United States and certain other countries to ensure that there is peace. Peace in the sense there should be no violence. Now, if there is violence, there is no legitimacy that comes to the Afghan government. Why would Taliban want international legitimacy and acceptance? Because they cannot run this country without foreign aid. Now, Afghanistan requires at least $10 billion a year. The government of Afghanistan requires at least $10 billion a year to be able to operate or to function. They generate less than $2 billion on their own, which means at least $8 billion is what they require in terms of international assistance. So that was coming from the United States of America. Where will those $8 billion come from now? Pakistan barely has money to sustain itself. It's looking at international dole itself. China will not give those $8 billion indefinitely. So that is why Taliban would want certain degree of legitimacy and acceptance, but that would depend on how Taliban behaves in the weeks and months ahead.
Oh yes, that will depend majorly on how Taliban behaves in the weeks and months ahead. But the fact of the matter today, as of right now, is that these Afghans have nowhere to go. They are scrambling. People are trying to flee from Afghanistan right now. The flight operations have been suspended. Gaurav, as far as the women are concerned in Afghanistan as well, whether it is children, whether it is all these people, there's going to be huge amount of displacement that is going to take place.
Yes, look at these images on your television screen. Look at the desperation and look at how difficult it is to control these people, that the Americans had to fly in an Apache attack helicopter. An Apache attack helicopter is literally a flying tank. That's an aircraft, that's a helicopter that can take down enemy tanks. You know, it's called a flying tank. How is it being used? The rotors are being used to push people back from the runway, from the taxiway, so that this aircraft can take off. Just look at the desperation of the people. There's an image that we'll hopefully be able to show you. We are in the process of trying to verify some of these images where people are trying to cling on to the wheels of an aircraft as it takes off. Now, imagine that level of desperation of people who are trying to leave Afghanistan. That's the reality of Afghanistan at this point of time, and it's having some really horrific consequences. There are bodies that are lying at the international airport, both outside and inside, you will see images in a short while from now of US Marines lying there and taking position in an effort to ward off people so that they don't come onto the taxiway and then the runway. Now that is the desperation in Kabul at this point of time. So if this is happening in Kabul, imagine what's happening in other cities where the Taliban takeover has been absolute and complete. On social media platforms, there are some horrifying reports that are emerging about what's the situation
and from
on
our
ground.
information itself, Gaurav, we can confirm that 3 people were dead in the gunfight that transpired at the airport right there in Kabul. Are we getting more information on whether this gunfight is ensuing? What are you picking up on the violence and arson that has broken out on that front?
So Tolo News is Afghanistan's biggest television network, and Tolo News has put out images of bodies lying very close to the, not far from the tarmac, bodies lying at the international airport. There are images that have been put out that show people who are desperately trying to climb into aircraft. These are the emergency relief flights or rescue flights for either Afghan nationals or for embassy staff and other staffers. Remember, the democratic world was in Afghanistan for 20 years. So people who'd invested, Afghans who invested in the peace process, or those who were working with the Americans or the British or Denmark and Norway, the Scandinavian countries, their ambassadors, their staffers, those who were assisting them, those who were assisting the International Security Assistance for ISAF, all those who are assisting them are on the target of the Taliban, and there is a lot of information that's doing the rounds internally. That is why people want to flee Afghanistan, and that is why you see these very desperate scenes.
All right, so these are desperate scenes coming in, shocking images coming in from the Kabul airport. For our viewers who have just tuned in, just take a look at what is going on right there. Horrifying images coming in. US Apache shooing away desperate Afghanistans. What you see on your screens are the civilians who are running towards the American Apaches, and panic-stricken civilians are chasing these US Apache aircrafts. And low-flying Apaches are dispersing. They're clearing the runway and, of course, leaving these local civilians with just about nowhere to go. Gaurav, one can safely say they're returning back to the dark ages, and it's shocking, horrifying humanitarian crisis which is unfolding in front of the entire world today. This evening, from what we're picking up, the United Nations Security Council is also going to be convening a meeting to discuss this issue at 7:30 p.m. But do you see any kind of a plausible resolution coming out of that meeting?
Right, Chaiti. Look at that Apache helicopter. As its rotors, it clears the runway and the taxiway. Look at the desperation of the people. Now, when US President Joe Biden says that there is no way that Taliban will take over Afghanistan, there is no way that there would be a repeat of Saigon or US Embassy being forced, helicopters being sent to the US Embassy to evacuate people like in 1975, the situation now is as bad, if not worse, especially these images. And fortunately, these images are out for the entire world to see how wrong the American assessment was, or how wrong virtually everybody, including President Ashraf Ghani and the Afghanistan government and other governments who are watching this situation, how wrong they all were, because none of them expected, one, the Taliban blitz, and two, the Afghan army, which is more a counter-terrorism force, to collapse in the manner in which it did, and Taliban to enter President Ashraf Ghani's palace with the ease with which they did, because all of this, in a way, is against the Doha Agreement. But in another way, it is Taliban will just say that because Ashraf Ghani fled, they had no alternative. They had to ensure peace and calm and prevent the looting. Remember, there was looting. There were reports of looting in Kabul just last night. So the Taliban came in to restore order, is what the Taliban are claiming at this point of time, according to information that's coming out of Kabul. And the desperation of the people for all to see. This is only symbolic of the fear of those who invested in democracy and democratic forces in the past 20 years in Afghanistan. They've been left to fend for themselves.
Yes.
And they've been hung out to dry.
They absolutely left to fend for themselves. You know, these are visuals that are coming in from the Kabul airport right now. And one can only imagine what is going on in the rest of the country at the moment with these desperate Afghanistan civilians trying to flee the country. They're panic-stricken. They're chasing the US planes. The US planes are shooing them away. Hundreds are jostling to board the plane. These are desperate scenes coming in from the airport, and absolutely a big humanitarian crisis which is breaking out right there in Afghanistan. The Afghans have nowhere to go. These are desperate escape bids coming in at the moment. Gaurav, you know, you've tracked this in so much detail, and probably not the right time to ask you a bit of perspective on what is the solution from here on.
It's very, very uncertain. Virtually no one knows. So what's the effort that's on? I've been speaking to my sources both in Kabul and in New Delhi. The indication is that while Ashraf Ghani, the president of Afghanistan, he left the country. He tried to go to Tajikistan, wasn't permitted, went to Oman, and will try to go to the United States, is what sources are saying. The National Security Advisor of Afghanistan with him, the Vice President, Amrullah Saleh. Now he's an old-time intelligence hand. He's currently in Panjshir, is what sources are telling India Today, and is trying to go into Tajikistan. What will happen in times to come? Well, former President Hamid Karzai, the Afghan negotiator and former Vice President Dr. Abdullah Abdullah and Hamid Karzai, with some other veteran or senior Afghan political leaders, they are trying to perhaps negotiate with the Taliban a peaceful transition of power. While Taliban will be in control, they want every part of Afghan society, the tribes, others to be represented. They want women to have representation. It's a very tall order. Will Taliban even agree to this? Why should they? Because they are in complete control of the entire country, which no one expected them to be, at least not for the next 6-8 months. So an effort is on to negotiate. The only leverage that democratic forces have is legitimacy that Taliban seeks, legitimacy and foreign aid. That will only come in case there is a democratic, peaceful transition of power or semblance. Now, the images that you see on your television screen at this point of time are the most horrifying part of this story. This is that C-17 that's taken off. We are going to pause these images for a second. There you see something falling off. Horrifying and shocking. The first images that you saw of people desperately trying to cling on to the wheels of the aircraft as that aircraft, that huge C-17 Globemaster, as it took off, people were trying to cling on to this. Reports from Kabul seem to indicate that somebody fell down to a very horrifying death. That's the information that's coming in from Kabul. It's coming in through agencies in Afghanistan, and India Today cannot independently verify this, but this is what agencies in Afghanistan are putting out. Nothing can be more shocking than what you see on your television screen at this point of time, Chaiti.
No, that it's absolutely horrific. I'm out of words. You know, if we can't independently verify this, but they were trying to cling on to the wheels of the aircraft, and you can see something falling off right there. And God forbid that's a person who's falling off. Can we independently verify that at the moment?
Well, Chaiti, there are bodies that can be seen near the international airport in Afghanistan, in Kabul. There are bodies that are visible there. It's on Afghan media. And then there is this image. The Apache's helicopters, it tried to remove people from the tarmac, but the Apache also moved on. Desperate people, as you can see in those images, they still run towards the aircraft. As you can see in that image, they're running towards that aircraft. They try to board an aircraft, and we'll also show you those images when they've tried to forcibly board a civilian aircraft and they couldn't. But then there are reports from Afghanistan that say that people try to cling on to the wheels of this C-17 Globemaster, and then you see that other image of that Globemaster taking off.
You know, there is nothing more, Gaurav, that can be more defining in terms of the desperation of these civilians to escape Afghanistan when they cling on to the wheels of the C-17 that you can see right now and then fall off to death from that jet, Gaurav.
You know, did Joe Biden, when Joe Biden, the US president, when he took that decision that yes, America is pulling out of Afghanistan and the manner in which the Americans are pulling out, did he even anticipate this? Now you listen to his press conference on that subject, and in that press conference, nothing he said seemed to indicate the actual ground reality that's unfolding. In fact, on the contrary, he claimed there will not be another Saigon, but there was another Saigon, perhaps worse. What he did not say, or did not know, or was ill-informed, was this will unfold in Kabul. In Kabul, where not just America, but the International Security Assistance Force invested blood and treasure for 20 years. More than 2,000 American soldiers made the supreme sacrifice of their lives. More than 600 British soldiers made the supreme sacrifice of their lives. More than 20,000 American soldiers were injured in 20 years of combat. And it's all come to this, that Taliban are in the presidential palace in Kabul, fully and completely in control of the country.
This picture explains it all in terms of the plight of the local civilians of Afghanistan. There's no better defining picture that can explain to you the kind of plight and the kind of desperation these people have. On your screens, what you can see is people clinging on to the C-17s. And Gaurav, coming back to the United States, has the Biden administration or the President of the United States of America himself issued any kind of a statement on this humanitarian crisis which is unfolding right there in Afghanistan?
You know, when you hear the US President Joe Biden in that press conference, and reporters were putting multiple questions about Taliban's takeover of Kabul, and he was very categoric, no, that's not happening. Intelligence reports that are out in public domain, they seem to indicate completely a different picture. They actually talked about troops being amassed, or Taliban being amassed across the border in Pakistan. So when Pakistan claims, and yesterday I had a Pakistani guest on the show who said that this is Pakistan's December 16, 1971 moment when Pakistan was dismembered and Bangladesh was born. He said this is Pakistan's revenge for it. Whatever logic, convoluted, strange logic, but that is Pakistan's logic, that they say that they have avenged the defeat in Bangladesh and the birth of Bangladesh, the defeat in 1971, by ensuring that India or Indian interests are adversely impacted in Afghanistan. But India is not the main player. It's the people of Afghanistan who have actually lost when you look at these images. And these are not words. This is visible to the entire world. Joe Biden has had to once again send in more troops into Afghanistan just to ensure evacuation. So they sent in 3 infantry battalions initially, 1 marine battalion and 2 infantry battalions, and now they've had to send in 2 more and 2 more in reserve at this point of time in Doha, Qatar. So that just shows how desperate the situation is, and the Americans realize that. They didn't realize it 1 week earlier, but within a week of total collapse, 20 years of investing blood and treasure.
And when Biden came to power, there were Defense Department and other officials urging him to keep some level of counter-terrorism force in place in Afghanistan for several more years, fearing that this exactly would happen.
Jayati, you're absolutely right. And they did not have to invest much because a 300,000 strong Afghan army or a counter-terrorism force was being prepared. So all they required was effective leadership, guidance, money, yes, and air support. Everything was pulled out overnight. Everything. I mean, what were they thinking? Why were they doing this? It still defies logic, at least of the people on ground in Afghanistan. Because 20 years you've invested so much, and overnight you pull it all back. Not even air support, no maintenance, no guidance, no intelligence inputs. And you had an Afghan army which was just about learning how to fight. Incidentally, an Afghan army that hadn't been paid for the past 10 months. So look at the difference in motivation level of the Taliban, where a Taliban commander and the top Taliban commander's son was sent out into a suicide mission and was killed in a suicide mission. So look at the motivation of the Taliban, that the commander's son is killed in a suicide mission. It galvanizes more forces and they move in. And an unpaid Afghan army for 10 months who don't know what they're fighting for, because in the middle of battle, the defense minister has changed, the army chief has changed, several corps commanders are changed, and they just don't know what they're fighting for. The psyops of the Taliban, much better. Information warfare led by Pakistan, so much better that the Afghan National Army, it just melted away. Not paid, not having effective leadership, not having higher direction of war, and the Americans who just pull the plug. And
Tragic.
then you see these images.
Tragic is the word that describes the images on your screens. And for our viewers who have just tuned in, of course, Gaurav Sawant is getting us a complete perspective and all angles of this particular story on your screens right now. What you see is Taliban taking control over Kabul. What is happening is that these are shocking images coming in from the Kabul airport. If you take a look at these images, there are US Apaches shooing away desperate Afghans. Low-flying Apaches dispersed, they clear the runway as well. And Afghans clung onto the wheels of the C-17 Globemaster. And one of the most defining and horrifying images coming in is of that C-17. Just take a look at that one on the left side of your screens where people clung onto the wheels of the C-17, and you can see the people in their desperation trying to cling onto the wheels and then falling off that particular aircraft, falling to death from the jet. Afghans have been caught on camera plunging from the US jet, and this is the level of desperation and humanitarian crisis which is panning out in Afghanistan as we speak. Gaurav, we are speaking about Kabul right now. What is the situation looking like in other parts of Afghanistan?
So very little first-hand information filtering out at this point of time. There is information that's coming out through, of course, the media, social media, and others who've left Kabul. It's a very, very bad situation. People are still able to contact some of their relatives, but what is the information that we are getting to know? Taliban, they're actually drawing out a list of who worked for the Americans, who worked for the British, who worked for the International Security Assistance Force, who all worked at the Indian mission, and in the past 20 years. So lists are being drawn out. Those who worked with the police and the security forces are being told to register themselves with the Taliban. Foreign journalists are being told to register with the Taliban afresh. They are also being told that if you don't want to do that, you may leave the country. There are people, especially political leaders, who are running from pillar to post. In fact, they're in hiding at this point of time. They're not in their own homes because they fear that they'll be picked up by the Taliban. They may well, and they don't know what future, has in store for them. So they're trying to run away from one area to the other, leaving their mobile phones. In some instances, one political leader I heard of had left the children only because they didn't want the children to be associated with whatever they've been doing, and they hope that the children will be safe. Now, this is the level of uncertainty in Pakistan-backed, Taliban-controlled Afghanistan. Is there still hope? Yes, there is hope. But that is if the democratic world comes together in a very firm way and ensure that Taliban does not massacre people like it did last time. But there are some indications, like the Hazaras were not harmed this time like they were last time. But then these are very early and small indications. Also keep in mind, Afghanistan requires a lot of money to sustain itself. $10 billion is what they require. $2 billion is what they generate. So annually, they would require $8 billion to sustain themselves, which clearly will not come from Pakistan, which doesn't have any money to sustain itself.
Yeah.
So that is one sincere hope that democracy and human rights, and more important, women's rights, may just prevail.
Probably. And we'll wait and watch for this particular story to unfold. Right now, these images on your screens are showing you the heartbreak and what the civilians of Afghanistan are going through at this point of time, trying to cling on to the wheels of that C-17 aircraft and falling off the wheels because they're trying to leave, they're trying to escape, and they cannot. And they're being shooed away by the US Apache flights as well. Images are that define the heartbreak that Afghanistan is going through right now. We're going to stay on these horrific images that are coming in from Afghanistan. We'll get you more reactions. We'll get you more updates on the story. For now, slipping to a very short break.